there's big traumas and then there's those micro traumas, right? How would you describe the big traumas and micro traumas? And then why do you think it's important to kind of address both of those?
Yeah, so the big traumas are, what some people call big T traumas, capital T. Those are your horrific car crashes, shootings, and your homicides, and, the things that you see in television and movies that we show up to, right? Those are the big T trauma. Those are the abnormal circumstances, the things that most normal human beings either never experience in their lives or maybe unfortunately experience at one time in their lives. The little T traumas are the things that you see and face every day. Things like poverty, substance abuse, mental health issues. These are things that it's possible in your previous life before you got into being a first responder, like myself, you hadn't encountered much. I was brought up solid middle class in a fairly, well-off city. I wasn't naive to think that these things didn't exist, but they weren't in my bubble of experience and reality. And so getting into law enforcement and entering spaces that I hadn't been in before really kind of hit me hard, right? Seeing all the holes in our systems and the failures of our social safety nets and just the difficult lives that, some people are born into and have to face on a day-to-day basis. That wears on you because you see that every day. And, again, first responders became first responders because we want to help, because we want to make things better, because we want to step in and be that person that fixes it. But the fact is these are problems much bigger than us. These are huge systematic problems, and I can't fix those alone. Mm-hmm. And I also have very little control on being able to navigate them with the other people either. And so you just watch that day in and day out, and that just builds up. Those are those like little traumas that don't get recognized, right? That tend to get ignored. It's important to address both. I think that we put a lot of focus on the big T trauma, with PTSD being something that people, know a lot about. Also, I think it's sometimes a little easier to treat because you can acknowledge and recognize where things went wrong. Like, things went wrong for me in this moment, in this thing that I witnessed or participated in. The little T stuff is more insidious, right? Mm-hmm. It builds up over time. It's a lot sneakier.
Sneaks up on you,
right?
Yeah.
It starts off as this little monster that just kind of keeps rolling and building up like a snowball effect the further you get into your career. And a lot of times you don't realize how much of a problem it is until you get like way down the line.
Way past the point of no return.
Exactly.
Yes.
You end up being a witness to so much dysfunction, a witness to other people's pain and other people's suffering. And again, we get into this job because we are helpers. I don't care how tough of a cop you are, right? A big, bad, I'm a tough cop, I like to get the bad guys. You didn't get into this job just for that. You got into this job because somewhere inside you have a soft spot for humanity. Mm-hmm. You have a heart to help people. And that starts to erode. That starts to get chipped away at. And it gets more chipped away at by the little stuff, the micro stuff every single day. It gets heavy and you start to lose faith